pushing people's buttons to get a reaction can actually be very good for society.
But can it? Can trolling be good for society? The answer is not actually an automatic no, but it's not a yes either. The problem is a little more complicated than that. This is what South Park explores throughout Season 20. The season with a very tense situation.
Final result, 4 athletes sitting out on the national anthem, 3 of them not even black.
The girls at South Park Elementary are protesting because they're getting mercilessly bullied by a troll using a screen name SkankHunt42 on the school message boards. Heidi Turner gets trolled so hard that she quits Twitter. Everybody suspects Cartman to be the troll, but Season 20 Cartman is very different from the regular Cartman. He's in his woke era.
Girls rule, women are funny, get over it.
Despite his apparent earnestness, nobody is buying his wokeness.
Everyone knows you're acting this way by day, so you can be horrible to people on the internet at night.
The boys begin fearing that girls might do something drastic, so they lure Cartman into the woods and destroy all his electronics.
Please don't break my stuff, you guys. This is like 2 Christmases and a birthday worth of stuff.
Cartman's begging doesn't work. The boys are convinced that if they destroy all his gadgets, then he can't go online and troll people. But the boys are wrong. Cartman is not the troll. So who is the troll? Everybody has a theory.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
But the troll doesn't live with his mother. He's not some loser who has nothing better to do. The troll is actually Kyle's dad, Gerald Broflowski. He has a good job as a lawyer. In this, South Park pointing out the often ignored fact that trolling is not just a loser's game. Anybody can be a troll. 2 of the biggest trolls alive today are Donald Trump and Elon Musk. You would think that they'd be too busy doing billionaire stuff to troll anybody, but they somehow find time to spend 18 hours a day stealing memes and arguing with peasants on Twitter. Billionaires, they're just like us. However, unlike Elon and Trump, Gerald has the advantage of anonymity. People only know his screen name SkankHunt42. This anonymity allows him to be so much nastier. Now when a guy like Gerald does something like this, the first question is always, why? Why is he so crude and nasty? Why is he photoshopping penises into women's mouths? Why? Gerald believes he has a good reason for what he's doing.
Could be someone who just kind of thinks it's funny to stir the pot and watch everyone freak out.
This is the reason Gerald gives to defend the hypothetical troll that everyone assumes is an elementary school kid. He gives this reason to his wife, gives it to his children, gives it to his fellow trolls, and literally everybody else. This is probably what Gerald tells himself as well. But he doesn't believe it. Not completely. He has doubts sometimes.
Maybe the fact that it's so not funny makes it somehow funny to kids?
When we combine these doubts with Gerald's behavior, we start to see the very real reason as to why Gerald is actually a troll. We just have to examine 2 very similar but different scenes. The first one is this scene from the 2nd episode of Season 20. Gerald goes for a jog after a night of trolling people online and he is as happy as he can be. Nothing can keep him down.
Get out of the street, idiot!
Sorry, my bad.
He's smiling, happy. He ignores arguing neighbors and pretty much everything else. When a cyclist almost runs him over, Gerald just laughs it off and waves at the guy.
No worries.
Then there is a similar scene from the 4th episode. Here, Gerald has temporarily stopped trolling people on the internet, and now he's irritable. The same things that he brushed off with a smile before now bother him. When the cyclist from earlier almost hits him, Gerald curses.
Son of a bitch! Ah!
Happy-go-lucky Gerald is gone. So while Gerald might tell everybody, and even himself, that he just trolls people just because he thinks it's funny, there is clearly a much darker impulse. Look at this, it's a very innocent post. Hey, I just want to remind everyone about the ice cream social to benefit homeless teens, looking for volunteers. And what's Gerald's response?
Hey, I'd like to volunteer to kick you in the vagina. Where do I sign up?
This is uncalled for. The poor lady didn't deserve it. Or this one.
This is my daughter at the triathlon today. Go, little girls.
Boring, wholesome family stuff. But what's Gerald got to say about this?
Your daughter has a mustache. What the hell is wrong with your ovaries?
He does this all night, and he has a lot of fun doing it. This is not funny, it's just cruel. Gerald is lashing at these people on the internet who have done nothing to him. And from the 2 scenes we just examined, we can start to see why. Gerald trolls to let out his frustration. When that cyclist almost runs him over, Gerald just smiles and lets it go in the moment. Then, later on, he lets out that frustration on some poor lady online. This is an obvious case of misplaced anger. So why is misplaced anger even such a problem in the first place? It's society, and also us. Social conventions dictate that we have to be nice to each other all the time. We're constantly pressured to suppress our dark emotions. Things like anger are often treated like a disease rather than a normal part of the human experience. In the gap year between high school and college, I worked a retail job where I was required to smile all day. Even when grown men and women were acting like spoiled toddlers, I still had to paste on a smile and be as nice as possible when what I really wanted to do was punch them in their stupid faces and watch their teeth fly through the air. But I couldn't. I would lose my job and face an assault charge. So I sucked it up and took it, day in, day out. The customers always knew that we had to be nice to them, which just made the bad ones worse. They would aggravate you more and more because they know you couldn't do anything. Now, you've probably had similar experiences. There are things that you've wanted to do or say, but you just couldn't. Expressing negative emotions of any kind has become increasingly taboo in our society, especially in the workplace. And this doesn't make the negative emotions go away. We still feel them, we just can't express them. Anger has always been a valid response to unacceptable behavior. Even instincts like violence have their place in the human experience. But the expression or even discussion of such feelings has become largely unacceptable. We all have to pretend that all the frustrations can be solved by woohoo nonsense like just brushing it off or taking deep breaths. What happens is that all this frustration just mounts up inside until we find a convenient outlet for it. An outlet like an anonymous internet message board. That's why a guy like Gerald can be nice and smile at everyone all day, then start saying the most horrible things imaginable once he gets behind a screen. The internet is the only place where you don't have a self-censor. You don't have to suppress what you're feeling or force your thoughts through a niceness filter. This is the reason why places like Twitter, Reddit, and 4chan can be so toxic. People don't just say exactly what they think. They often exaggerate to overcompensate for all the crap they have to eat in polite society. While trolls might feel justified in taking out their frustrations on innocent people online, their actions don't just disappear into the ether. These actions can have devastating consequences. We see this with Gerald. He doesn't just make people feel bad. Those are the first-order consequences. Gerald's trolling creates a butterfly effect of second, third, and fourth-order consequences that make everybody's life so much worse. While Cartman gets blamed for his actions, Cartman gets all the electronics destroyed, which in turn gets him into a relationship with Heidi Turner. That relationship puts the toxic in toxicity and takes Heidi's life down a horrendous path. Shameless plug, but I made a video about that. There's also tension between all the boys and girls at South Park Elementary. When the trolling doesn't stop, the girls dump all their boyfriends. This leads to a gender war as Butters starts the #WienersOut movement. Events in our own world have already shown us that there are no winners in a gender war. Our entire species loses. It's a shit show all around. But the saddest and scariest consequence of Gerald's trolling comes when he picks on a website for breast cancer survivors. It's run by a Danish Olympian named Freya Ollengard. At first, Freya appears to be a match for Gerald.
This little troll can have his fun. I'm going to be the bigger person.
Gerald takes up the challenge to show Freya just how nasty he can be.
Game on.
Gerald's trolling is relentless. He even trolls Freya on live TV.
You go, girl. You're doing great things. Don't let trolling stop you. And that is from Dr. Where'd Your Go?
The interviewer is completely clueless, which makes the whole thing very funny for Gerald and very painful for Freya.
Believe in yourself and don't listen to the haters. You're an inspiration. That's from Hungarian physician Dr. Kutsior Bubzov.
Gerald is over the moon.
He shoots, he scores!
Gerald is so pleased with himself that he brags to his son Ike.
I guess the troll from the school message boards is now harassing a famous Olympic athlete, and you might say she's asking for it.
Other trolls copy Gerald, dogpile on Freya, and she finally can't take the hate anymore. She jumps out of an 11th floor balcony. This kind of thing has happened a lot in real life. While adults don't do it as much, a horrendously large amount of teenagers have taken their lives after being targeted by vicious and faceless cyberbullies. Gerald predictably freaks out.
Oh God, oh no, oh!
Despite being a grown man with a wife, children, and a job as a lawyer where he deals with the legal system every day, he seems to have forgotten that actions have consequences. And those consequences are coming for him. Denmark's entire population is very angry at the troll. They don't know who he is yet, but they intend to find him. They take the pain of losing Freya, combine it with the frustration of losing 200 wars to Sweden, and focus all of it on finding Gerald. They build a program called Troll Trace. Meanwhile, Gerald comes from shopping to find a troll's worst nightmare. There is a note under the windshield wiper of his car. Gerald Broflowski, I know who you are. For the second time in as many days, Gerald freaks out.
Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god!
He learns firsthand that it is not fun to be trolled.
Protocol 0.
Gerald deletes his entire browsing history, deletes all his emails, destroys all his electronics, and then catapults them into a lake just to be sure. Does that do the trick? Of course not. He forgot about syncing. When he remembers and checks his son Ike's computer, he finds another email waiting for him. It says the same thing the note says. I know who you are.
Meet me under the Fremont Bridge, 9 a.m. tomorrow.
A terrified Gerald shows up to his meeting under the bridge expecting the worst. But he is in fact in luck. It's not Freya Ollengard's Avenging Angel. At least not yet. It's another troll. A fan.
We need to talk.
Gerald doesn't want to talk. He's just happy to avoid paying for his sins.
Oh, thank God!
The troll begs and begs, but Gerald is done with the life. Swaggins follows him home and does the whole we need to talk thing from Love Actually. Gerald tries doing normal, non-trolly things. He tries sleeping and jogging, none of it works. It's almost like trolling is an addiction. So he steals an iPad his wife got him. He had initially refused it, but he can't resist the urge to just be nasty to somebody. But Sheila catches him, which is awkward. He lies and says he was watching pizza delivery movies, but his wife knows he watches them and she doesn't care. So he lies some more and says he was watching the pissing stuff. This gets his wife worked up.
Do you want me to pee on you?
No!
You only like watching other women pee? Because they're pretty?
This is South Park pointing out the lengths troll will go to hide their online activities. They may enjoy it and justify it in 100 different ways, but they know on some level that it is wrong. They are just unleashing their anger on people who don't deserve it. So after this humiliating night, Gerald talks to the troll he's been ignoring, Dildo Swaggins. What he discovers sends him into full panic mode. While he was hiding from the internet, the Danes started working on the Troll Trace project. Its only aim is to expose everybody's browser history.
Every message, every comment ever made by trolls will retroactively be given a tag with the author's name, location, and full internet history.
Gerald nearly poops his pants. The Troll Trace CEO makes it very obvious what the consequences will be like.
Cum ut, troll. Cum ut und die.
Gerald doesn't speak Danish, but Swaggins translates it for him.
Come out, troll. Come out and die.
Gerald knows he's cooked.
Then it's over. I'm dead.
But Swaggins believes there is still hope. He introduces Gerald to all the other trolls in Colorado. The Troll Trace project is not fully funded yet.
We are just a few million kronas away, so please donate via the social media of your choice.
The trolls decide to destroy the project before it gains enough funds to expose them, so they troll the hell out of Denmark. And it's not actually that hard. It's flatter than a pancake, and its entire population is made up of the people who are too chicken to go on Viking raids. The cool Danes conquered England. The cringe ones stayed behind to ride bicycles and pretend that rotten fish is delicious. But Gerald goes beyond that. He teaches his fellow trolls the art of trolling.
Look, you don't just troll a woman with cancer to get a reaction from her. It's all about the group of people that are gonna come to her defense.
This is why Gerald is so good at trolling. He thinks a few steps ahead. Not far enough ahead, obviously, or he wouldn't be in the trouble he is in now, but just far enough to create an unbelievable chaos. He knows that once he trolls a woman with cancer, people are going to defend her, and he's prepared for that.
They're gonna be so self-righteous that another group of people will eventually find those people totally annoying.
Gerald is basically teaching the trolls how to create grade A rage bait, which creates its own self-sustaining reaction. It's a tutorial on how to start a war. Even the trolls are, shocked.
That seems kind of mean.
Nevertheless, the trolls do it. It's the only hope of maintaining their privacy. Coordinated trolling attempts like this are not unprecedented. They have happened several times before, actually. 4chan once helped a 39-year-old man win a Taylor Swift meet and greet contest because he wanted to sniff her hair. Taylor got creeped out and canceled the entire thing. Later on, she held a contest for schools. The schools with the most votes would get a free Taylor Swift concert on campus. 4chan got together again and made sure that the winner was the Horace Mann School for the Deaf. That was top-tier trolling and very funny. What Gerald and his buddy end up doing is the complete opposite. They just fling as much poop as they possibly can until something sticks. This strategy works beautifully. They claim that Lego was funding ISIS. This was before Denmark invented Ozempic, so it failed to attract any heavy support.
Sir, public opinion of Denmark is very, very shit.
The Trollface CEO, Leonard Bedrager, realizes that he can't respond.
Our only choice is to go offline.
You mean we have to quit the Twitter?
Everything, you ignoramus!
Mr. Bedrager's name is actually a big hint for what's in store for Gerald. If you're fluent in the series of barbaric grunts that pass for the Danish language, you already know what it means. If you speak a more civilized language, don't worry, you'll find out soon. Now, Gerald and his troll buddies don't know what Mr. Bedrager's name means. Actually planning. This makes them celebrate prematurely. Gerald even goes back to full-time trolling.
Nobody cares about your fat sister with Lyme disease.
But disaster is coming. Her name is Heidi Turner. Remember when Gerald trolled her so hard she quit Twitter? Well, before she did, she had been trying to hunt down the troll.
What is all this? To try and prove who the troll was, I started to look for patterns in how students used emojis.
According to Heidi's emoji analysis, the dreaded troll, SkankHunt42, is not actually an elementary school kid like everybody assumed. It's a parent. Heidi shares all that research with Leonard Bedrager. With Heidi's research, the Danes narrow down the location of the troll's attack.
It is a location in the middle of the United States, a place they call Colorado.
Colorado? That's a very geefy name.
Speaking of names, what does Bedrager mean? It means deceived, fraud, conman, troll. His big plan is to expose everyone's entire internet history. It's just the nature of technology. If it could be used to expose the internet's history of trolls, it could be used to expose the internet history of everyone. It's kind of like a GPS chip on your phone. You can use it to navigate and check the weather, but the CIA can also use it to check exactly where you are. The city of Fort Collins, Colorado becomes the first recipient of this new innovation.
Once again, if you live in the city of Fort Collins, there is a chance that all your emails and your entire internet history has been made accessible to the public.
The chaos is instant. Married men get exposed for their cheating. Women get exposed for their secretly trashing their friends.
Hello, MLKKK. You called my daughter R2D2.
Fort Collins is burning, and Gerald realizes that it's only a matter of time before he gets the MLKKK treatment. When a helicopter and a convoy of black SUVs come for him, Gerald knows he's cooked.
We have him. Subject is home.
He tries to confess as quickly as he can.
They're coming for me, Sheila. They know everything.
About what?
Everything I did online. It's over.
But it's not over.
We've come to ask for your help.
Now it's over. Hillary Clinton wants Gerald to go to Denmark and steal the troll trace technology so she can prove she didn't lose the election. So Gerald goes to Denmark as a spy. He was given a briefcase that is supposed to detonate at exactly 9:30 and fry the troll trace servers. When the time comes, the briefcase pops open and never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. Gerald and his troll friends have been played. The Danes knew who they were all along. Hillary Clinton and other powerful people didn't want the internet's history exposed. So they sacrificed Gerald and the other trolls, handing them over on a silver platter to placate the Danes. Once the Danes had their trolls, they wouldn't bother with anybody else's internet history, would they? Normally they wouldn't. Danes are very reasonable people as long as you don't mention Sweden. But Leonard Bedrager is not even a Dane. He's a troll, a con man. He has his own plan. He betrays Hillary Clinton and releases everybody's internet history anyway. The man's goal all along was to start World War III by exposing everybody's secrets. He wants to watch the world burn.
We're going to use you to set the world on fire. When the servers go online, there will be panic, chaos, and war.
A lot of countries are nervous. The Chinese are mobilizing for World War III. Even allies don't trust each other anymore.
Sir, a message from Saudi Arabia. They say they pinky promise not to look up our internet history if we pinky promise not to look up theirs.
Private citizens mirror the same worries that their governments have. They're all facing the same dilemma.
If we can all agree to resist the urge to look up other people's internet histories, Maggie, then our town won't suffer the same fate as Fort Collins.
This is the prisoner's dilemma. It's one of the toughest problems in game theory. The classic problem is that you have two suspected criminals in different interrogation rooms. If they don't snitch on each other, they both go free. But if suspect A snitches on suspect B, he goes free, and suspect B gets 10 years in jail. If both of them snitch on each other, they both get 5 years. The suspects can't communicate with each other. Each suspect has to make his decision in isolation and just hope that the other guy doesn't snitch. The prisoner's dilemma is tough enough when you only have 2 people, but once you apply it to the population of the entire planet, it's over.
I know, I'll certainly respect others' privacy, but what about people like Laura Tucker the Blabbermouth?
The right thing is deceptively easy. If nobody looks up anybody's internet history, then nobody finds out anything he is not supposed to know and social harmony is maintained. But if just one person does it, all hell breaks loose.
This hack of our city will never happen, so long as we can rely on the rationality of the American people.
Yeah, fat chance. In the prisoner's dilemma, most suspects snitch on each other and both end up going to jail. A fate they could have easily avoided by keeping their mouth shut. The reason is simple. There is no honor among thieves. If you had any honor, they wouldn't be thieves in the first place. So they betray each other and end up losing every single time. The people of South Park feel the same way. They know they can't trust their neighbors. This is a very funny commentary on the complete breakdown of social trust in our communities. And because people can't trust their neighbors, they only have 2 options: leave the planet or destroy Denmark. Leaving the planet isn't viable because SpaceX doesn't have the technology to get humans to Mars. So that only leaves one option: destroying Denmark. Which brings us to Leonard's plans. Was he too stupid to see that the world would be destroyed? Governments would never let anybody expose their secrets. Just look at what's happened to the likes of Julian Assange and Edward Snowden. All they did was publish a few embarrassing government secrets that we all kinda knew about. We know politicians are corrupt, and we know the government is spying on us. We just didn't have proof until Snowden and Assange provided it. But revealing this was a no-no. Assange and Snowden instantly became wanted men. As for the men who had really damaging secrets like Epstein, well, the less said the better. You already know what happened to him. So how exactly does Bedradger's plan get away with exposing everybody's secrets? That's the neat part. He doesn't. He is fully aware of the human cost of his plan. He knows Denmark will be destroyed and millions will die in wars all over the world because of his actions. But he is perfectly prepared to take that trade-off.
Because it's freaking hilarious!
Sacrifice millions of lives? Why? Bedradger's is a different kind of troll, a more calculated and a more dangerous one. Gerald and his little band of mean-spirited little losers are small potatoes compared to him. But is he just doing it for the lulz, or does he have ulterior motives? The answer is yes.
Somebody who could rise to political power through nothing more than pushing people's buttons.
Bedradger's plan is basically America's Middle East strategy. Create a lot of chaos and then come in acting like the savior. It's psychotically brilliant. Start a war, let the people beat the living crap out of each other, and then come in near the end acting like you're the solution. The problem with convoluted supervillain plans like this one is that they only work if everybody else in the world is painfully stupid. And in the South Park universe, people are just stupid enough for it to work. Yes, Kyle interferes, but it's an accident. He learns that his father is the troll, and he is in Denmark, trapped in Troll Trace HQ. Mr. Garrison, the new president by the way, already has bombers en route to bomb Denmark. Kyle uses reverse psychology to make Garrison call off the bombs. He just tells Garrison that he is just being manipulated, which he is.
Maybe I won't bomb Denmark. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you will, because you're a little
So Mr. Garrison calls off the bombers to prove that he's not being manipulated, which is exactly what Kyle wants him to do. This gives Kyle a reprieve, but it's a small one at that. Denmark has to be destroyed to protect everybody's secrets. If America doesn't do it, some other country will. Kyle gets his friends together and hatches a plan to save his dad and everybody else by generating as much hate as possible so it can overload the Troll Trace servers. The Pentagon has an even better idea.
And if this kind of overreaction can be amplified, it could blow out the internet.
With help from the Pentagon and SpaceX, the boys succeed. They blow up the internet. Everyone's browsing history gets wiped from existence. Gerald gets away with everything. He never has to face the consequences of his actions. The only people who knew that he was a troll are Kyle and Ike, and they're not gonna snitch. This may be unsatisfying, but it perfectly mirrors real life. Trolls really get punished because the vast majority of them never get caught. But trolling in South Park doesn't end with the reset of the internet. In the final scene of the season, a reporter interviews the man who has sent the first email on the new internet. He sent an email to an old friend. I know what you're thinking. What did it say?
I showed him my dick.
This might seem a nihilistic conclusion to the story we've been following for about 10 episodes now, but it's South Park. As always, pointing out the harsh reality. People will always find places to say things they're not allowed to say in polite society. Today it's the internet, and all these apps with disappearing messages. For previous generations, it was the toilet wall. I'm sure you've probably seen some wild stuff on the walls of your school toilets. This was a tradition as old as time. We've had insults scribbled on toilet walls in Pompeii from 2,000 years ago. So, to answer the opening question, is trolling good or bad for society? The answer is neither. Trolling is like pooping. It may be unpleasant, but it's an inescapable part of the human experience. Just like we can limit pooping in the streets and restrict it to toilets, we can limit trolling in the wrong places, but we can never eliminate it. People will always have thoughts and opinions that are considered unacceptable by polite society.